Local tribes are reacting to President Joe Biden's apology to Native Americans across the country for decades of government-run boarding schools that forcibly separated children from their parents. At least 12 schools operated here in Wisconsin, with several right in our area. President calling it a, quote, blot on American history, end quote. In the First Alert Update, Drew Best joins us now live in the newsroom with reaction. Drew.
Bill, President Biden spoke at the Gila River Indian Communities Reservation in Arizona, saying there is no excuse that the apology didn't come sooner. The president talked about how the federal government's policies led to abuse and deaths of Native American children for years, saying, quote, while darkness can hide much, it erases nothing, end quote. The federal boarding schools aim to assimilate children into white society, but according to an Interior Department investigation, nearly 1,000 children were killed in the system over a 150-year span. The Associated Press reporting at least 18,000 children, some as young as 4 years old, were taken from their parents and forced into the schools. Today, the Oneida Nation released a statement following President Biden's apology. It reads in part, quote, we must work together to promote awareness, education, and reparative justice to honor the experiences of those affected and to ensure a future for the next 7 generations that instills pride and confidence in our ancestry. We stand in solidarity with all Indigenous people on our journey toward healing and empowerment, end quote. The Oneida Nation chairman also says it is imperative that the United States recognizes this painful history and its ongoing repercussions. Bill?